Do NBA players actually get away with carrying that much? Leave a comment, let me know what you think. But in this video, I'm gonna break down some of the main situations where I do see they are carries, some things where people are saying they carry or think they carry that I think they're a little off on, and then times where maybe it doesn't matter, but maybe it does. Coach Jesse Muench here with Get Handles Basketball, where we train harder and smarter so you can play like the pros. If that's something you're looking to do, subscribe and click that bell icon to catch the newest videos. I'm gonna go over some other different situations where players carry or people think they carry. The first thing I've noticed though is a lot of people think that NBA players just carry all the time. And I can see why they would think that in some situations where maybe it isn't. Sometimes it might be, but a lot of times I don't think it actually is. The reason why is because players have got so good at a couple of things. Number one, they're good at popping that dribble hard and floating it in the air. Now you can legally float that dribble in the air as long as you want, as long as you're not actually palming it like I am here, and as long as your hand's not more than halfway under the basketball. At the end of the video, I'm gonna link you to another YouTube video that talks about what a carry is and what it isn't, so if you're not clear, you can check that video out. A lot of times what players are doing is they're getting good power on their dribble. They've started to understand this and add this into their game, getting good snap on the dribble, so handles nowadays isn't all about making low, quick combos necessarily. That's part of the game still, but they're also taking advantage of popping that dribble and floating it. And from that, what a lot of players are doing is they're hanging it high. They're hanging it back behind them a little bit more. And a lot of times it's in a legal position with that. But then the second thing they're doing that more likely is probably making a lot of people think it's a carry and some even a travel is they're using this float to their advantage to add hang time and then do a whole bunch of steps and fakes, which is completely legal. So I can understand why when they're doing a lot of steps, it might look like it's a carry, but if it's not actually a carry with their hand position, there's nothing wrong with it. The other reason some people think it's illegal is because they think it's a travel. Some people think that there's a rule that you can only take a certain amount of steps while you're dribbling. There's no such rule. You can take as many steps as you want as long as it's a live, legal dribble. It's once you've picked up the basketball, your hand comes under the basketball to pick it up, to go into a layup or a shot, that's when the steps start counting. But let's dig deeper into some other situations. Click that like button if you like the insight so far, and leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts on this. Okay, the next situation I want to talk about, because this is something that kind of I picked up when I was younger and I started getting calling from carrying the basketball, is I would see guys bring the basketball up the court, and they would be super casual, and they would just be dribbling like this, where their hand would come under the basketball, scoop it up, and then go into their dribble. That's not legal, right? Your hand can't come under the basketball and dribble. Now, to me, like in some ways, I have mixed feelings on this, because does it really matter? It's like in a situation where there's no one around, they're just setting up the offense, like who cares, right? And to some degree. But then I got thinking about it, and I was like, well, that was one of the main things I watched when I was younger that made me start carrying the basketball and thinking it was okay. And then one game I got called for carrying like 4 times. So like for kids watching, when they see that, letting that getting let go, I can understand why that would be a problem for some parents, coaches, and spectators, that they don't want to see that in the game. Something that I've noticed, I guess sound off in the comments, let me know what you think about this, and let me know what NBA player you see do this the most. Okay, finally, let's talk about like more like game situation type things where players are carrying the basketball. So sometimes, you know, that'll carry over from them, get the pun there, the carry over, from them bringing the basketball up the court, and then they'll like be about to go into a move, you know, and they'll still have this carry in the mix. Or some players just have a habit of doing that. Like sometimes you'll see NBA guys will do this little setup dribble and they'll have their hand come over halfway under the basketball, sometimes completely under the basketball, or sometimes as they're posting their guy up, they'll do this little dribble where they scoop under the basketball, right? There's a lot of different scenarios where you'll see guys do this. And a couple things to consider is, you know, you might get mad at the refs for not calling it, but you gotta realize like things happen really quick. There's a lot of action happening around, like players around that person dribbling the basketball where maybe they can't get a good angle where they can see. So there's so many little things to consider with, the refs can't pick up every single thing every single time. And there's one other factor that's making it really difficult. If you watch the best NBA players, the way they dribble the basketball now, a lot of times they're gonna ride that line of what a carry is and what it isn't. Because hand position here is a carry. Hand position here, you're probably good to go. So in a game, like those little millimeters of difference with where the hand is on the basketball can be really hard to pick up. So I can understand why it might be hard for refs to pick up on that. and how NBA players are starting to get away with that. But leave me a comment, let me know what NBA player you think gets away with carrying the most and uses this to their advantage the best. Here's the video on what a carry is and what it is not. Check that video out so you can get really clear on what the rule is officially. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon to catch newest videos, and I'll see you in that video next.